the brain tumor was like the big reason we needed the surrogate, because my neurosurgeon at Cedars, Dr. Keith Black, was like, you can't get pregnant. I'm so sorry. He's like, we know that there is some kind of hormonal connection, or we believe there is. And so he's like, it's just not safe for you to do.
Join me, Sasha Pieterse, on Women in the Nude, Season 2, where we bear it all except for our bodies. Leave that to your imagination. Welcome to Women in the Nude. Yay! Maria, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks. I'm so excited.
So we have both been chatting about where we are living, whether it's LA or elsewhere, because we want to be a little bit more sane and raise our babies in the place where we want. And man, that's complicated. But I just wanted to, I guess, start out by saying I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's what a journey it's been. If people don't know, Maria has been extremely open with her health. You are an incredible person. And, as someone who's also vocal with the stuff that I've gone through with my health, it is, it's really cool to see somebody be very transparent with everything, the good and the bad. And so I've always looked up to you, and I just wanted to say thank you for being such an incredible role model. And I, as a mom, like, what has this journey to motherhood been like? I feel like that's such a giant question. I feel like it's a little unfair because it's such a big question, but how do you feel?
I am elated. Like, it is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. She has brought so much joy. It's funny, like even today I watched, my dad was like working on something and I could see he was stressed. And then we come around the corner with Athena and he goes, and just everything changes in a second. When you see her, there's nothing else you can think of other than joy. And so it's definitely been a rough 7 years, but she was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like it was a rough rainbow, but whatever. That's a stupid analogy. But yeah, she's everything.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
like, they really do. They change everything, and it's amazing. But I guess, stop me if this is a stupid question, but was surrogacy always in the cards for you before this?
Yeah. No. I mean, listen, we were so unconventional. Like, Kevin and I met and we were going to like Goldie and Kurt it forever. And then we were so busy with career that kids were kind of like, oh, we have plenty of time. We have plenty of time. And then when we started, the first time I went to like an IVF person, I went to like a gynecologist who could like check to see if I had follicles and stuff. I was doing a segment for Dr. Drew's talk show at the time. And they're filming, and all of a sudden she's like, and her eyes bug out of her head. And I go, what?
What? Yeah.
And she's like, you don't have anything. And I go, okay, so what does that mean? She's like, you can't have kids. And I'm sitting there, and like the camera crew had stopped filming.
Yeah.
And this is like how insane. I'm like, my eyes start welling up. And I literally was like, hold, Maria, hold. Excuse me, this is the moment you want to capture, actually. So then I had to like produce the moment at the same time because they were missing it. And I was like, oh my God. And then I left there and I realized, the birth control pill probably suppressed my system so much. And so I did some acupuncture, and then boom, follicles came back.
Oh my God.
But I then got a brain tumor, and, the brain tumor was like the big reason we needed the surrogate, because my neurosurgeon at Cedars, Dr. Keith Black, was like, you can't get pregnant. I'm so sorry. He's like, we know that there is some kind of hormonal connection, or we believe there is. And so he's like, it's just not safe for you to do. And at that point, we'd really been trying. I mean, I've said this before, like Kevin would hang me upside down like a chicken. I mean, we did everything, even though it was like, we were both scared. Well, I was really scared because I'm like, I also had a rough relationship with my sibling, and I was so scared of like, what if I got like a demon child? And I
As
was
you're
like,
hanging upside down, you're like, that's
like,
what you're thinking.
well, I also would say, God, you know what's meant for me. Don't do it. I can't handle it. I've already had enough. But you know, I just kind of was very peaceful about the fact that whatever was meant to be was going to be. And when he said that I couldn't carry, I was like, okay. We started the surrogacy journey. And it was the most beautiful experience. Like I'm texting with them constantly, and literally I pray and I thank God every single night for them.
Yeah.
Because every time I look at Athena, I'm like, oh my gosh, if they weren't the kindest, most amazing humans in the world, I would not have her. And she has changed my life in every possible way. And made my life. Like she's made my life. So, and you
It's,
understand the feeling, I'm sure.
yeah, I totally do. I mean, your story is so crazy. And I think that like, it's just even just let me just go back to the moment of the fact that you had to produce that segment is just so wild. And it's also like you're so professional in that way, which is just so I feel like almost to a detriment, because
Yeah.
did you give yourself that time to grieve? Like in that moment, obviously that wasn't it wasn't like the period at the end of the story, but I mean, that had to have been such an insane, like surreal moment, and you directed it
Yeah.
essentially.
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, that's happened so many times in my life as like a TV producer. Like it's
Right.
just in there. There's nothing I can do. I remember working in a horribly toxic work environment where we were all counting down the days till the torture ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember almost breaking on a PR tour. And I was like, Maria, you can't cry right now. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can cry. And then hold on. I looked at the calendar. Okay, I'm going to be on
You
that trip.
scheduled your cry.
I cried in the middle of the ocean in Bora Bora. And when I say I guttural cried for probably 2 hours, the most intense screams. My husband is still traumatized by that trip. I'm like, oh my God, Bora Bora is amazing. I tell people you should go. And he goes, what are you talking about? That was so traumatic. But I think this journey has been so wild. And I'm sure you have a million stories as well. Like life moves so fast.
Yeah.
And I don't think when it moves as fast as it does in our world, you get to grieve the lows and the tough moments or really celebrate the bigs.
Yeah.
You feel the same way?
I completely agree with you. My husband and I were actually just talking about this, and how sometimes we have to truly focus on being connected in that way, not to each other, to just the reality of what's happening. Because especially with the highs, actually, ironically, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you don't give yourself the space to celebrate or like be excited about that moment, because I mean, at least I have always been so trained in the like, well, it might just not happen, or now it's about what's next. It's like you
Yeah.
can't let yourself
Or,
get
yay, it's amazing. Oh shit, I got to get to a meeting in five
yeah,
minutes.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. The pace is just I mean, it's just wild. And those lows that you're talking about, I know exactly what that's like. I know exactly what it's like to I I have this like when you say you like schedule a cry, I will literally tell myself like, you just can't, not right now. Just not right now. You can do it later. You can do it later when you get home, just not right now. I've said those things to myself in my head before. And it works.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we
Which
get
is,
by.
you get by. Is it the healthiest way? Probably not. But it is one of those things where I feel like I've gotten better at scheduling it and
Yeah.
actually making time for it and being
Well,
okay
that's
with
good.
that. Because before that was not the case for me. I think I've definitely grown on that level, as far as like, no, it's you need to cry. And it's a healthy thing for you to do.
Yeah.
My mom is like the type of woman that will just cry at at a commercial.
Yeah, me
And
too.
and it's one of those things where like I grew up being like, oh, that's so ridiculous, mom. And now I find myself doing that. And I think it's actually it's a sign of emotional strength, being able to show those emotions and not suppressing them.
Yeah. I
But
cried with a
it's
contractor today.
well, there you go. It was
I
so
just
beautiful.
was like, how do I hold all of this in so well? And this contractor just gets me. Like he makes me cry. He's like, oh my gosh, you've been through a lot. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm just so grateful that you're healthy.
Thank
And
you.
he goes, can I? And he just has his hand over here. And I don't know what he's about to do. He goes, can I? And I just trusted him. He's like, Lord Jesus, thank you for restoring Maria's health. This is a floor guy who's coming in to check my floors.
This
And
is
I'm
a
like,
very Georgia thing to happen.
no, this was in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. This is a very Connecticut thing to happen.
And I was like, oh my God, it was so special and so pretty and like sweet. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
But normally I could talk about all this stuff without crying, but with the contractor today, he got me.
That would never happen in LA. That
I know. But that's
that
also,
would
I
never
think,
happen in LA.
why it got me too, is just the difference of like the warmth of people in other areas too, the genuine,
Yeah.
experience that you have. Listen, I have amazing people that I've worked with there too. So I'm not, it's just, it's different. I don't know if LA is weird because we all go there chasing a dream
Mhm.
and then everyone's in their vortex. So, like, when you need help, like when my parents both had COVID at the peak of COVID, and one has stage 4 brain cancer, the other one's a severe type 1 diabetic who's almost 80. And I'm like, oh boy, my parents are both going to die right now. And what the fuck? I was like,
Where are my people?
where is everybody? Where is
Yeah.
everybody? Everyone's so busy chasing after their careers that no one's around. But if you live in these other places, that's when I
Yeah.
hear like, that's why I wanted to move to Nashville. At one point, my friend had come over to visit at that kind of critical time. And she was like, Maria, I have a friend who's pregnant or just gave birth. And they did like a Meal on Wheels program.
Uh-huh.
Everyone brought fruit over. I go, what? Like, I had one friend who like sent waters. I have you visiting. I have another friend, God bless her. She came and helped me like get my house together when my mom was getting released from the hospital. But like, it's
It's
just kind of
different.
strange. It's just strange. And I know they're all good people. They just are all too busy trying to make it and trying to keep it.
I think it's also it's kind of a vicious circle though too, because it's like you don't want to be the weird friend that's like doing that. Where I've grown up that way where I'm like, no, you do everything that you can for somebody that's like, yeah, but if somebody's pregnant or if somebody's just given birth, like you send food, do the laundry, I've grown up in a way where like that should be normal.
Yeah.
And so it's always felt empty elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, in LA, something else someone told me that might ring true for you too is geographically, everyone's so far away from each other.
That too.
So also that makes it a little complicated. And then the other last thing I'll say is because I had to have some things to hold on to. Otherwise, I was just going to be crushed spirit wise. It was that I'm so on top of shit and so good at everything that no one thinks I need help. I was like, okay, everyone gets a reprieve now. Like, okay, fine.
That's interesting. That is, I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. And I'm a little bit of a control freak too. I don't necessarily want anybody to do anything for me, but the emotional side of it, yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes those little things are life changing, and I think because I've been in the business since I was quite literally 4, my parents always made sure that I had friends outside of the business. All of my close friends are not in the business, and so.
Wow.
Because of that, and I have wonderful friends that are in the business. I more so mean like my very best friend and like
Yeah.
those.
Your foundation.
My foundation is not set in the entertainment industry, and that I think was like a make it or break it for me. I think I would be living a completely different life emotionally if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
And I think it, yeah, you might have friends that you're dealing with, like what you're saying, that feel that way about you, that might not directly be in the entertainment industry, but it's like a very LA thing. I, I lived in Valencia, which was like this little bubble where those things still kind of existed. And
Mm-hmm.
so I never wanted all of the LA things. It always annoyed me. It always like really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to get out. And I was so lucky to be working on a show that filmed in LA. Was here for 7 years doing that. And then when I left, I fell in love with Colorado's weather. Um, and then, loved certain parts of Nashville. Obviously, I had friends there and was raising a toddler, but business was coming back here. And I kind of just had to. We kind of had to make the move back. And really good things have happened from it. And
Yeah.
I'm at such a different place now mentally that I think I'm at the right time in my life to be back here. And it feels good, but those cliches are they're comical because it is so real. And so, like I can't with Erewhon. Like it's not, I just
I
can't
just
go
started
and
going to
valet my
Erewhon
car.
finally.
I can't valet my car at a grocery store. It feels so stupid.
I know, but they have really good popcorn and they have
Can I tell you something that's even more ridiculous?
what?
Because please continue with it. But I am so stubborn that I will not go into Erewhon. But what I will do is Instacart Erewhon, which is
Oh,
even
you're
worse
hilarious. Yeah.
because now I'm also paying for delivery fees. I'm
Wait, you're
spending.
reminding me though that I just discovered it and I feel like I needed a nice piece of LA to go to. So I started going a little here and there just before I came out here. So maybe 4 times I went there and I was like, oh, this is so cute. And then I was like, I don't know about this. But their coffee it was the bulletproof coffee. And I'm just
Mhm.
remembering that I need to redo my bulletproof coffees out here.
They do have great stuff, and
Yeah.
I have PCOS, so my diet is at times is like very specific, and they have a great bakery section that like applies for me. And like, but I don't want, every time you walk into Erewhon, it's like everybody's looking to see who comes through the door, and I hate that. I'm like, this is a grocery store. I want to come in my sweatpants and like,
Yeah.
get what I need and leave. And so I will Instacart Erewhon instead.
So you don't have to experience
I
it.
don't have to
Okay.
go in.
I get it.
Which is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous thing to do, but it is what it is. I did want to ask you something again about the surrogacy, if you don't mind
Yeah.
me
No,
asking,
of
because
course.
I've had so many friends who either want to pursue it or have done it. I have friends that have a surrogacy business, and I find it so incredible and so fascinating. Um, did anybody give you shit for it?
Hey everyone, it's Sasha. Great conversations deserve the perfect pairing, like my new adult beverage, Hippie Water. It's a refreshing, non-alcoholic seltzer with 5 milligrams of Delta-9 THC and just 30 calories. Find it now at hippiewater.com and use discount code NUDEHIPPIES for 20% off. Or find it in Total Wine in Florida, Texas, and Arizona. Hippie Water.
I did want to ask you something again about the surrogacy. Did anybody give you shit for it? And I'll tell you why I'm
so
asking.
funny? It's funny because we have well, they were friends. One of them worked for me for a while, or worked for us. And this is somebody who was like so sweet and I like loved. And she said to my husband, she's like, what do you mean she can't carry? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he goes, her neurosurgeon, the top neurosurgeon in the world, said she can't carry. And she was like, I just don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. And I was like, wow, I never want to talk to you again. And
Yeah.
I never want to see you again because you actually know me. It's one thing to be judged by outside people who don't know and don't get it. Like, but you
Right.
actually know me and you know what we've gone through. For you to even say anything so judgmental is just crazy to me. And so, yeah, I mean, I just have to have empathy. This person just is not in a good place in their life, maybe. I don't know, secretly.
I mean, I've never understood that. So I have one friend in particular who has gone through surrogacy and best thing in her life, but she couldn't believe how many people and women, how many women were so judgmental about her not carrying her own kid. Essentially, like then you're not meant to have kids. It's that mentality that is just, which is devastating to me. I'm like, what do you mean? It's, it's such an interesting, it's just such an interesting world. And like, there's so many decisions to make in that space. And it's so personal and it's such an incredible thing for a surrogate to do. Like, it's just having had my son, I am so blown away by women that become surrogates. I think it is one of the most selfless things you can do. It's an incredible thing to do. And it's the whole process is so beautiful that to look down on it is just unfathomable. I can't even fathom that. I can't even fathom even saying something to somebody else about that too.
I think for us, gosh, like people have been so kind with us because we've gone through so much. I mean, listen, we found out we were pregnant, and within months I found out I had pancreas cancer, and now I might not live to see her born. So I think the fact that like at the same time, and then my house flooded, and it's been, a 2-year situation trying to get that back. So it was a lot happening at the same time. My mom had just died. My uncle just died. We just literally had so much happening all at the same time. I'd just been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I think people had enough empathy to not come for me about surrogacy, but your friend, didn't have the long laundry list of shit. So they had to, it's unfortunate because I think people look at it as now it seems like just the convenient thing to do. And I do think that with IVF, we have to be really careful before we jump into just, I can't get pregnant. It's been 2 months. I'm going to do IVF. And I'm saying that because I believe that we will find out potentially someday, if they let us, that how dangerous IVF is. And I say that because you're pumping your body with hormones. And you don't know what's lying dormant in there. So was the brain tumor there, or did it start to grow with the hormones? I believe at the very least it grew with the hormones because I could feel it. When I was doing the progesterone shots, I called my doctor. I'm like, I want to drive my car through a brick wall. My head is exploding. And she's like, stop the progesterone, stop the progesterone. And so I know, again, with the brain tumor, with the doctor saying hormones grow things.
Right.
So you don't know if something's going in. So I always tell people, if you can, get a scan to see what's going on under the hood.
Yeah.
I also recommend trying a natural cycle where you don't have to pump yourself up with all the hormones. No one talks about this, but it is possible. If you've got follicles, they can time just the trigger shot for the egg retrieval. So you can do a natural cycle. And I will drop a name. Dr. Wendy Chang, who was my IVF doctor, said she can do it and it's possible, because sometimes doctors love to say things aren't possible because it's the least expensive way to do this. Right. So yeah, I always recommend that with my friends.
Amazing. I just want to say that I went on a deep dive watching interviews of you because of all the stuff that you've gone through, and it was just so incredible. And I just I don't think I have enough time to talk to you to like go through all of this. Like I want people to like go and explore. I'm literally going to leave references of like videos that I've watched because it's such an inspiring story. I love that you say that because you truly do never know. And I have a lot of, friends. I thought that I was going to have a hard time getting pregnant because of PCOS. And so I was also just doing a lot of research on it when we first started trying. And I mean, it's the average time is like a year and a half for somebody to get pregnant. I think we just have this expectation that it's going to happen fast. It's like, oh, well, now you're trying, so now it'll happen, when stars have to literally align for you to get pregnant. And again, with maybe just the fact that everything is so fast paced in life, it's like we expect things to happen, immediately. Everything that in our life is like based on convenience and, as fast as it can happen and as quick as we can get it. That I feel like, as silly as that sounds, even with something like this, we feel like it needs to happen now that we want it. And, your body is such a complicated thing, especially a female's body. And I think it's also such a wonderful opportunity to evaluate your health, like you're saying. There are so many things that we don't know with our bodies, and I'm blanking on the name right now. But the scan that you got, that found. Okay, so I heard about this company maybe like 3 months ago, and I actually told my husband, "This is amazing. I want to look into this more. I want to get this. This looks like it could be really, really cool." Totally forgot about it. And then when I was watching your videos, I was like, this is the company that I came across, and I couldn't believe it. So, and can you say the name again?
Prenuvo. Yeah, I think the scan is meant to be for you. That's probably why.
Oh yeah, well, maybe, right? Same thing. I have lots of dormant things that have, been activated in different ways and different reasons. So much of it is hormone based for me. No, this is like PCOS stuff. This is like menstrual neural stuff as well. And it's all based on female hormone, times of the month and
oh, that's what you mean by activated.
Yeah. So I have epilepsy. It's generalized. I have maybe a couple a year max. But I'm sleep and my menstrual cycle are my two main triggers. And so the week of my period, those hormones that are fluctuating like crazy, I'm way more likely to have a seizure. And it's always in the morning. It's the first 2 hours of when I wake up, that window. It's the only time I've ever had a seizure is in the first 2 hours after I wake up. And it's
that
all
might
hormone
be because of your cortisol,
induced.
Right? That's your cortisol.
I mean, like my heart rate is really high in the mornings when I wake up, and it's stress, sleep, and hormone based.
Have you done your circadian rhythm? Have you worked on setting your circadian clock?
No, I have not done that.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you getting them in the morning is interesting because first of all, you need to get your cortisol levels checked. Because your cortisol levels are clearly amok in the morning, but you also don't have a circadian clock set. So one of the most important things for the foundation of your health is having your circadian rhythm set. So you want to wake up before sunrise every day. So right now, sunrise here, I think is 6:50 or something. So I set my alarm for 6:48. I get out of bed. I open the doors. I get that natural sunlight change in my eyeballs. So you have UV receptors in your eyes that take in the sun, and I call it human synthesis. So plants use the light for photosynthesis. Right. I call it human synthesis, and it's also to set the clock. So you can't wear contacts, you can't wear glasses. You go outside and the light shifts from night to sunrise.
Right.
And your eyes take in that light and it says, okay, Maria, it is 6:50 a.m. Let's start all the morning processes. Let's do all the things. And then throughout the day, you're supposed to get that sunlight almost like a clock set. You're setting your clock throughout the day. You go outside and you're like, oh, Maria, it's 1:00 in the afternoon. Wow. Okay. Do whatever you're supposed to do in their body. And then at 3:00, you go in. It's like, oh my God, we got to start producing melatonin. And so your body knows what time it is based on the sun and the light spectrum outside. The light spectrum changes throughout the day. So you're supposed to then eat before sunset and then not get any blue light exposure. So now technically, normally, I wear my blue light glasses now because it's a little dark in here. I don't want to torture your show viewers.
You look adorable with them. You're welcome to wear them.
My husband told me I looked ugly in them today. So I was like, okay, ugly and bad light not happening. But
he's a liar.
He's torturing me. But so the reason I wear blue light glasses is because what we're doing right now is telling our bodies that it's noon. all day. And guys, it's 5:16 here on my coast. It is not noon. And that's what's screwing up our circadian clocks is artificial light. We have left nature and we've created it. We've created our environment rather than living in the true environment. And that's why our bodies are so fucked up. So now, as I've been on an incredible healing journey, one of the things I've done for the last 2.5 years is I never miss a sunrise. I get it outside and I try to get as many sunsets as I can, but I'm definitely setting my clock throughout the day. And I'm trying to go to dinner early and have my dinner before sunset, because your body's then digesting food at a time it thinks it's supposed to be sleeping. So now all that shit's getting all messed up in there. So you want to wear your blue blockings. These are 60%.
I have those. Absolutely. Every night I put those on. Yeah.
So, and if you don't have them, I have them on my website, and I only do this just so everybody can have them, because no one knows what to do. So you wear your blue blockers, and then after sunset, you wear the red tinted ones that are 100% blue blocking. So now if you have to watch something on TV or you got to do something, you wear the 100% blue blocking. So now you are really telling your body that it's not noon, it's whatever time it is, 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m.
I didn't even know that those existed. Red blockers?
Yeah. So if you go on my website, the company that my naturopath has completely vetted and loves, and I've had them on my show before, is Lucia Eyes. So just go on my site. You'll see the red, you'll see the regular ones. But setting your circadian clock is going to be really important for you, as well as checking your cortisol levels. And then, did you say there was something neurological?
Well, I mean, just seizures. Yeah. My
the epilepsy. Yeah. So there's another therapy I'm going to tell you about. So I am like a fake doctor at this point. 7 years, I know a lot of stuff. And with the show, with Heal Squad, that's all I do every day. But I have a friend who got Bell's palsy recently.
Wow.
And I instantly racked my brain. I'm like, who do I know? Who do I know? And I'm like, let me text Gabby. So this woman, Gabby, is amazing. She lives in Florida. And I said, Gabby, I have a weird feeling you're going to know what to do with this. And she goes, not only do I know what to do with this, this is a specialty. I go, what? She does this Polish therapy called the Klavi therapy. Imagine nails, hammer and nails, the nails that go on the wall. There's something like that, but they're thicker. And she puts them on different points on your body. And it's almost like an acupuncture, but it's different. So she's like, I had a mom of quadruplets who got Bell's palsy. I did 3 treatments on her, and within a week, she was fully healed. I said, please, you have to help my friend. So I'm going to do a whole episode on my show about this.
It's amazing. Yeah.
He was like, I was like, I don't know, by the grace of God, Joe, she lives in Florida. This is perfect. They got together. She did 2 sessions with him, and he is 99% back.
That is wild.
Probably people who've had this, they tell you there's nothing we can do. They'll give you gabapentin. They'll give you a shit ton of toxic drugs. And they'll say, well, maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't. And meanwhile, your whole face is paralyzed and whatever.
Yeah.
And she is brilliant at what she does. So you need a session with Gabby as well, because I bet there's some things that she can adjust that will help you. And then couple that with the Klavi, with the circadian clock and the cortisol test. And you need Dr. Allison, my naturopath, who's brilliant, and you will be fine. And I bet you'll never have a seizure again.
Hey, I'm willing to try any of that. I mean, I've been dealing with that since I was 15, and I'd kept it a secret for so long because my biggest thing was, work. I didn't want people to think, as far as production goes, that I wasn't capable, or that they didn't want me to be in certain positions or work long hours, or get,
So
treat
how
me
did you
different.
handle hiding that on set? I'm so curious.
I've never had a seizure on set. So
many of us have to hide.
I know, right? I've never had a seizure on set, which is just luck, really. Because I don't have any true signs of when it's going to happen. I know what can trigger it, but I don't have there are some people with seizures that feel like, okay, I feel different. I feel like something's going to happen, and they can lie down, or they can, do whatever they need to do. and they suspect it's going to happen. I don't have that. And so it's just essential luck.
Wow.
But I've only had, I think, 2 alone. Every other time my husband's been there, a friend has been there, someone has been there.
What does someone do when they're having to help somebody in an epileptic moment?
If they have a grand mal, which is what I have petite grand mals, which is you lose consciousness and you fall and you seize. You want to make sure that you get them on their side so that they don't, if they vomit, they don't swallow their vomit, they don't choke on their spit. But you are not supposed to try and stop them from convulsing. You know, don't put anything in their mouth, don't give them CPR. You're supposed to let it happen. Just kind of
like an earthquake, just ride it out.
Right. Just write it out. Make sure that they're not hitting themselves on something, you know, like make sure that they're not like
in danger.
Yeah, waters, you know, a big one. Make sure that they're not in water. That sort of thing.
Do you get scared when you take a bath?
I just don't take baths. If I do, I just have, you know, my husband there, or he knows, or he's listening, or but it's interesting because it has dictated so much of my life, and so much of that I just, you know, made an excuse for, kept quiet, or like we're saying, you know, we hide things from certain people in order to stay normal.
Yeah.
Which is such a sad thing. And I'm finally at the point where I'm kind of like, fuck that. Like, there's also so many people out there that deal with this, that are doing the same thing in their normal life. Also
Really?
hiding it for whatever reason. And like, you just kind of, it's so uncomfortable to see somebody have a seizure. And so I think as somebody who has seizures, you never want to put somebody in that position. It's a very weird feeling emotionally, because you feel guilty. I've spoken to quite a few people that have seizures, and that's it. It's a through thread where we feel like guilt for, you know, being a burden, putting somebody through that, essentially. But I think it just, like everything, people need to talk about it more. I got told so many times, I went to 17 gynecologists before I got diagnosed with PCOS. I got told that, like, to my face, that I was lying, right? Same thing with my seizures. I was always curious if it was connected to my hormones. Every doctor was like, no. Yeah, this totally blew me off, thought I was crazy. But this last neurologist that I have was like, yeah, that makes total sense. You know, asked questions about it, was curious about it, and we've been connecting the dots. And I want to be more vocal about it, because at the end of the day, what I've realized, especially with my podcast, is that with PCOS, being vocal with that, it's opened a lot of avenues for a lot of people that listen to my show. I get a lot of comments about how, I got diagnosed with this now because, you know, I advocated for myself. And I think that is just as you know, with your podcast and just in general, what you do, how important that is. And so if even one person gets their shit figured out because of, you know, listening to you talk about it, or listen to me talk about it, or finding different ways and avenues to go about learning about your body, I think it's vital. And I think every single body is different. And as much as we can learn from each other, as amazing as that is, it's still, your body is different from somebody else's. And you just got to try stuff. You just got to try and figure it out, what works for you, you know, both from what you eat to how you exercise, to the tests that you take, to the medications you do or don't take, to everything, right? It's all trial and error in so many ways. So I have a question about the cortisol test. How do you test cortisol?
Yeah. So
what do you do?
My naturopath sends the kit to me, and it's like this little, like, spongy thing you suck on, and then you store it in the refrigerator, or you time it, and, you know, she has you check it at different times. And we just did a really great episode on cortisol levels and the things you would never think are connected to this. I mean, it is connected to your hormones and your autoimmune systems and all of that. But my husband, when he was listening to the episode, he goes, "Oh my God, that's why I'm waking up at this hour of the night and I can't go to sleep again." Or because your cortisol's kicking up at that point. Or this is why I'm dragging really low at this hour. And it's pretty consistent. We know our cycles because that's when our cortisols are doing their thing. So, and then when you know what it is, you can work on doing the adjustments. And that's where Dr. Allison jumps in and helps you.
I'm such a night owl. That's going to be so difficult for me. I feel like as now with the kid, it's different. I'm just naturally, I'm way more exhausted earlier and go to bed earlier.
I know, we give them the bath and then we're like, I'm dead.
And I'm exhausted. We just got back from traveling overseas and I used to handle jet lag so well. This has been, I feel like an alien. Like I feel like an alien talking to you. Like I've been home for about a week and I feel like I'm upside down.
Okay, but if you do the circadian thing, you will never have jet lag again.
Right?
I literally
now is the time.
Went to Amsterdam 2-3 weeks ago. I went to Amsterdam, came back, didn't have 1 second of jet lag because the second I get to wherever I'm going, I make sure I get on their time zone. So if I land at 3:00 in the afternoon, I'm not going to bed till 9 p.m. their time, right? So I'm going to go stay awake. I'll go shopping. I'll do whatever I have to do to stay awake.
Totally.
And then I wake up at their sunrise. And then I do the eyes outside all day.
I was fine there. I was fine going there. I guess the first day was a little wonky because it was just a 13-hour plane with my toddler. And that was hard. But like getting on somebody else's or a different time zone schedule, fine. It's the coming home.
Yeah. But the coming home was super easy too.
Well, I need to figure that out because this one was rough.
Yeah, trust me.
I couldn't form a sentence. I was like, I don't know what I'm saying to somebody.
I know. I've been there where my body is just like, what the heck? When is this going to go away?
Like I'm falling like dead asleep at 6 p.m., waking up at 2 a.m. Like where am I? Watching the sunrise unintentionally. Yeah.
Can't do it through glass because the glass is filtered.
Okay.
Gotta get the naked eye outside.
Noted.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so amazing. I did want to mention though, just a little side note, we are both doing Christmas movies. I love that.
I know. When mine already came out.
And what's it called? Just
so it's called Christmas at Plum Hill Manor. It will be replaying on Christmas Day, and it's replaying a ton. It's on Lifetime, and we shot it in London, so it's really cool. So cute. And how about you?
Yeah. Mine is A Carpenter's Christmas Romance. It's quite the title. It was really fun. We filmed it in LA, 14-day shoot. But honestly, 14 days. Isn't that wild? I have never shot something that fast before. That was crazy.
Yeah.
First Christmas movie. And it was a lot of fun. I
For what network?
Also for Lifetime. So
no way.
Yeah.
Who directed it?
Lifetime babies. Jake Helgren.
Oh, okay.
We had a really, really, really fun shoot. It was,
that's so cool.
It was a good time. But I thought that was really sweet. I'm glad.
I know. I love Christmas movies. I'm addicted. It's the sweetest thing.
It's comfort, right? Christmas is my favorite time of year. So it really is like a comfort thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm just impressed with being I'm impressed with people that can keep such a set routine. I think that's my hardest thing is like I can keep up with certain things that I do, every day, but like to have a set routine like that, I find very difficult. How do you do it?
So I give myself empathy for their different seasons in life, right? So like right now I'm on the East Coast. I'm not doing my normal morning routine. It's changed, right? Like I was trampolining every day and I just got my trampoline. I used it one morning. I haven't gotten into my routine yet, but my non-negotiable every day was trampolining for 2 minutes because it's the healthiest thing you can do. It's lymphatic drainage. It's so much more. And then I do my sunrise. My sunrise is non-negotiable because I know that for my health and my healing, that it's the number one thing I have to do. And I'm so committed to being healthy for my baby and for myself. And I have a lot of things I have to, keep on track here and get better. And last year was the scariest thing in the world. Yeah. And so, that's my super non-negotiable. And then I have my supplements and things that I do. But yeah, I think you have to have empathy. There's going to be seasons and there's going to be shifts, and you just got to do the best that you can. It's not easy. And our lives take us to different places, and we're traveling, and that interrupts schedules. So you have to be patient with yourself and just do the best that you can.
Yeah. I mean, yes to all of those things. I'm fascinated by this get up at before sunrise thing. And my husband is going to both love this and be annoyed because he's like a good morning person. Like he would love to be doing this and have been doing this for years. And it's going to be one of those things where he's going to be like, really? It took Maria having to tell you to start this new routine. It's going to be one of those.
Oh, trust me. I've had to have other people tell Kevin to like stop watching TV in the bedroom and all that blue light that's coming in. By the way, the other thing that I learned on my show that's really changed my game for sleeping is making sure there's not 1 ounce of blue light interrupting my field in there. So, your TV has that little teeny blue light thing at the bottom for the remote control to work.
We don't even have a TV in our room.
Good. Yeah. We stopped using it, but it's there, but I had to tape that. I have an what is it? Air doctor filter thing. So I do the night vision thing on that.
Yeah.
So you just have to make sure you have no light in your room. And if you can't, like if through the curtains in LA, my light would come in from the front yard because it's lit up like a park, I would wear an eye mask, and that changed everything. And for you, my friend, if you've always been a night owl, you have to now think, I wonder, with all the health things I've had, if I change it up and go the opposite way, what could come of this? Let's just test it and try it.
1,000%. There's no reason not to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I found my own way of doing this and my own voice as far as doctors go. But what is your biggest advice for women, or anybody, but advice for women that don't know how to advocate for themselves when it comes to a doctor?
So you need to find another one. Basically, and here's a problem. They make this so fucking exhausting for people that they quit, and that's the crime, and it makes me so sad. So I always say if the pain persists, so should you. So for me, the pain kept persisting. I was like, something's not right. I'm bloated, everything's not feeling right. Oh my God, I'm having all these terrible pains. I went to an incredible institution. They scanned me and they sent me home and said everything was fine. And my amazing doctor, who I love, in LA, I was like, I'm still having horrible pains. And he was like, listen, he's like, everything came back normal. Like there's nothing, I don't even know what else to check. We could send you to some other random specialist. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. And it was only through this random meeting with the woman who owns Prenuvo that I ended up finding this tumor that at the time they scanned me at this hospital was 2 centimeters. And now within 2 months, it grew to double in size. So, but I knew, and I kept trying. I did endoscopies. I did colonoscopies. I kept trying to find answers, and it's on you. You have to understand what the Western medical situation is. Once you understand what it is, then you can navigate it and use them at what they're great at. So they're really good at diagnostics unless they miss something, which happens. They're really great at surgeries. They're really great at prescribing. They'll give you shit. That's for sure. Are they going to heal you? Let me tell you, that is very unlikely. That's not what they're trained to do. They are trained, and I've had a triple board certified doctor. His name is Dr. Zach Bush. I had him on my show, and he said, I went to medical school thinking I was going to heal people. I came out and realized I was a glorified pharmacist. And the reason why doctors are the number one suicide rate is because of that. It's so unbelievable. They get piled up with so much medical school expenses and tuitions and all of that. So now think of how compromised they are when a pharmaceutical company comes in and says, hey, if you get people taking these pills or getting these shots, you get this much money, you get this much money. I mean, listen, I've got $500,000 in debt. I got a family. I'm supposed to be a doctor riding in a Mercedes.
Right. Like, this is not what I thought I signed up for.
So anyway, the reality is you need to understand what the system is. They're trained to find symptoms and match them with prescriptions. There's not going to be a moment where they're going to say, let's check your cortisol levels. There might be a few, of course, but I've never had a primary doctor ask for my cortisol levels to be checked. They're so vital. They're so vital. You're never going to have a primary care physician tell you to set your circadian clock. Now, I'm not saying never, but very rare.
I mean,
So we use them for the scans. We use them for medicine when we need it. We use them for x-rays and all that. But again, got to beware because they're not paying attention to how many you're getting. A CT scan is like 100 x-rays. Think of the radiation on your body. Oh my gosh, the MRI with gadolinium. If you've had multiple like me, you're going to see that your liver is now totally flooded with shit it can't get out. And by the way, creating other problems like it leaves behind lesions that then they think you have cancer. Because is it a lesion? Is it a tumor? What is it? I don't know, but I see stuff. Let's biopsy. But MRIs with gadolinium leave behind lesions in the brain and throughout the body. But you don't know that until you're me and you've had all this shit happen to you. So you have to be your own doctor. That's why my show is like my passion, because my passion is to share with people that you have to be the CEO of your health. Just like you have to be the CEO of your life, you have to be the CEO of your health. And what I love is I love my doctors. They've saved my life. I love so much over here in the Western world, of course, but I know what they're good at and I know what they're weak at, just like any good business person's going to be. I'm not going to hire my accountant to run creative, and my creative isn't going to run my fucking money. So when you're the CEO of your health, you know, oh, well, where am I going to get the people who are going to heal me? I know. A naturopath, not even the functional medicine people, because sometimes these guys and gals, they switch their practice. It's a more profitable way to do stuff, whatever. Now they're telling you to take 10,000 supplements when really you just need a few to bridge the gap. But a naturopath is going to spend 2 hours with you like mine does. She's going to look at everything and they're going to piece together why things aren't working. And they are connected because our system is all connected. There's not just, and this is why the Western world is so awful sometimes, is because there isn't one person running the ship. There's, let's send you to this specialist. Let's send you to that specialist. Let's send you to this specialist. Well, by the time you're done even scheduling those appointments, by the time you get to those appointments, now you're dead. You're dead.
It's crazy how long it takes to get an appointment. That's the other thing, is like, it's not like you're saying, there's all these specialists there's always like the middlemen, but it's also, it's never like, timely. It's like, well, now you're close to Thanksgiving. Well, I guess we'll see you in February. And it's like, it's just, it's not practical. So, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. My biggest thing with people is advocacy for yourself, but that everything that you just said, I mean, you have to be the one that pushes. You can't just take one answer for it. And researches and studies and
you have to find someone who can help you put it into action, because the primary doctor in the Western world doesn't even know. I mean, they don't even know how to do it. So that's why you need a naturopath that can hold your hand and guide you through this, because the other way.
No, it's, I mean, it's all about finding somebody that listens to you ultimately as well, because the doctors that I have helped me and that I've trusted have also been open about what they don't know. which
Yes,
like everyone,
that's a great doctor.
I think is, you know what I mean? Like that is something that I think needs to be more common is, hey, if I don't know something, I'm not going to say, no, you're wrong, or you're crazy, or that's not correct. You should say, I'm not sure. Let's get a second opinion. And
that's
or
how my
let's find
primary
somebody,
is, which I love.
Yes. And I think that is also so important when somebody just says no with no real explanation. Usually it's a lack of understanding or a lack of knowledge, not, you know, I don't know. I'm always weary of those things. And
but also sometimes people believe them. So if they say it with conviction, you don't want to believe anything's wrong. So in my case, my primary pushed so hard to get a biopsy immediately. And the head of the hospital guy, like the head of this unit, was like, I've been doing this for 30 years. This is just pancreatitis at worst. This is nothing. But this guy over here has been pushing me to get this done. So fine, we'll just do it, but it's nothing. And then I came out and he goes, oh, it's something. So he gaslit me, he gaslit my own doctor. So the key is, you have to keep pushing, but you need a partner in crime. You need a doctor who's going to believe you. And there are, I'm sure, I just have watched in my experience, the people I've had on my show, Dr. Christy Funk, the top breast cancer surgeon in our country. She came in, she's like, Maria, I have 15 minutes with you. Let me break it down what it really is like. I have 15 minutes with you. I have to give you a very extensive exam. And then I have to fill out my paperwork. And I only have 15 minutes with you. That's all I have. And now you're asking me, what can I do? Like, what can I eat? What can I drink? And she's like, and I don't know, because I didn't take anything nutrition wise. I have no idea. I was giving people bad advice until I sat down, I did all the research, and I wrote my book. She wrote this book called The Breast Manual. It's amazing. She's like, I had no idea what the nutrition end of this meant. And she's amazing, but her training only gives her so much latitude. Right. So when you understand that, that's when you'll see, okay, I need a naturopath on my team that's going to help me, because nature has the answers. We do need Western in the certain cases we need it. But look at my friend with Bell's palsy. They gave him a lunch bag filled of toxic shit that isn't even going to work. Gabapentin doesn't even work. And I have this healer who has this clavy therapy, put some needles in him. He started feeling his face instantly.
That's so crazy.
But this is what we need more of. I mean, and not everybody has a Gabby.
No. And that's the thing, right? It's also looking for people that aren't like just blowing smoke up your ass. Cause that's the other problem, is that there's a lot of people pretending as well.
Yeah.
It's hard. It just like trying to find a good doctor. It's also trying to find a good naturopath, because there are a lot of like things that don't necessarily work.
Which is why I love mine. Mine is $200.
There you go.
That's what she charges. Whereas there are some fancy ones that charge like $5,000 just to get in the door. And you're like, wait, this is not what this is supposed to be about.
Right. Exactly.
But I think that they are out there. And it just takes a little bit of research. And by the way, with the naturopaths, there's also specialty. So there's endocrine naturopaths, and there's different specialties that can be really helpful for you too. But I've done a few episodes with Dr. Allison to give people kind of like, this is the foundation. This is what you should do every day and how to do it, whether it's the circadian clock, the blue light glasses, the sun. We've been told the sun is so evil. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah.
Plants don't grow without the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, even just, you can talk about that just geographically. I mean, the depression rates in places that don't have as much sun is wild. I mean, you need vitamin D, you need it naturally.
We need it. It's not even just where there's no sun. Think about the fact that we have it all over here, and we literally just put so much toxic sunscreen on our bodies and faces. We completely shield ourselves from it, when the early sunrise sun isn't going to burn us or kill us. It's actually filled with beautiful red light that's going to heal us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. there's just so much.
There's so much.
There's so much. Yeah. But I'm so thankful for just this little taste with you. I so appreciate it.
Thanks.
And
Well, you have to come on the Heal Squad so we can talk about your journey
I
with
would
our
love to.
audience who's, you know, all dealing with different things like PCOS and stuff. So it'll be so helpful for them.
I would love to. Yeah, I'm always open to sharing that journey.
And I'm grateful you're sharing your epilepsy journey, because talk about brave. I know that even with the pancreas tumor, I was scared. I'm like, Kevin, I'm never going to work again. Like, this is crazy, but I couldn't hide it. Like there was just no way. But it's really scary. I mean, listen, they won't even insure you if you've had anxiety medicine in our business. Like, it's crazy what they do. Yeah. So I give you a lot of credit for being open about it, because I'm sure it's going to help a lot of other people in the industry feel less alone, and hiding that stuff is a lot.
I think it's also just like everybody has something.
Yeah.
And I think that's also like something to remind myself, but also everyone about, is like, nobody is the top bill of health and has nothing that they're dealing with. Everybody has something going on. And I think it's, you know, it's sad that talking about it can be, or being vocal about it can be seen as a weakness when it actually really is a strength. And, you know, I just hope that aspect of our industry changes, but it's not just our industry, it's everywhere. You know, everybody has something and everybody's dealing with it. And maybe if we were a little bit more open about it and a little bit more empathetic to people that are dealing with, or you know, that are going through things, then maybe everything would kind of operate a little bit better too. Maybe be a little kinder to each other. Who knows?
For sure.
Yeah. But I think so many problems fester and create new ones when we're not addressing them. And we need people like you. So really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. This is so fun. We'll have to do it again. Like I said, we'll do it on my show, but
I would love to. Yeah.
And if you want, get connected through Gary, and I can connect you with Dr. Allison, and we'll get you going.
That would be wonderful. I would really, really love that.
Yeah.
Always looking for answers. Yeah.
I love it.
I hope that you have an amazing Thanksgiving. Go baste your turkey.
You. Me too. And you as well.
Prepping for mine tomorrow. I actually really love making turkeys. Is that weird? So do you like it?
I love making my turkey. I'm so sad I haven't told my turkey how much I love it. Like, I haven't had time to like work with her and like be like, thank you so much. And I make the moistest turkey ever. And I think it's seriously, a lot of love.
People are afraid of turkeys, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite part of Thanksgiving.
Well, enjoy. Have a great holiday. And
likewise.
Thank you. And we'll
talk soon.
Talk soon. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you for listening and watching to another episode of Women in the Nude. There are so many more fun things to come, and I'm so glad that we get to hear from Maria and her incredible journey.